light on the horizon, off starboard bow. Feel the spirit rising, hear the mighty shout. Oh, watch the whole creation turning inside out. He's making his will made known. The time for peace is now. Leaders at the table talking about an end to war. We need more than chess moves. We gotta open up the door, and let a little sunlight shine on each and every face. And in the light of morning, let them bless the human race, singing we are one family. We are too close not to let it be. We are sisters and brothers, a coat of many colors, you and me. Feel the expectation, all the world around. Everyone is waiting to hear the joyful sound, oh, of all the nations singing, singing out in harmony. There's a new world in the making. Won't you sing along with me? We are one family. We are too close not to let it be. We are sisters and brothers, a coat of many colors, you and me.
Diva, you hit a bottleneck here. Oh no! Get me out of here!
Okay.
Oh.
You can cut that one off.
And never in my life did I dream that I would be sitting in Odessa, in the heart of the Ukraine, in the Soviet Union, celebrating this occasion with my Soviet friends and with the Baha'is that are traveling from Canada and the United States on the Red Grammar Baha'i musical tour, which we call the One Family Tour. And here we are. The first time I ever came to the Soviet Union was on October the 10th, 1987. And today, this is my 12th trip in that length of time. But the first time I wrote to the institutions and I asked for the guidelines before I came into the country. And it's interesting because at that particular time, I was told that I could bring only a prayer book. And that prayer book should be for my personal use and not to be obvious about Baha'i jewelry and that kind of thing. And this time, I went to the train station in Moscow and picked up 17,000 pieces of literature. Besides what the members of the troupe brought in, besides what was provided by other sources that came in through Finland. So I don't even have any concept of how many thousands of pieces of literature that we've brought in, but in 2.5 years, we went from a prayer book for your personal use to now we are publicly, people are walking around in this park as we speak, giving out information about the Baha'i faith and a program about the Red Grammar Tour. And we have people that are coming to the concerts, and we openly put out cases of literature, hidden words, and the peace message in Russian now. And part of this literature is even being published in this country. And I know that the people that I've been working with for 2.5 years, I've given them, as time progressed and the institutions gave different directives, books, Baha'u'llah and the New Era and Introduction to the Faith, but they were in English. And now that the English-speaking students are reading this, and you're watching this emergence of understanding and this glow come about them, but they want to teach their families. They want their parents to know, what is this? They want grandmother to know. They want their classmates to know. And it's the value of the friends at home recognizing the need for us to have information in Russian. Yes, we do appeal to the English-speaking students, and they are absolutely critical to this work because we can get the clearest message, the fastest, across to them. But we must have literature in Russian, and we all are witnessing how they take it not as a giveaway like we do in the West. Free information is a giveaway, and you usually value the content of it because it's free. It can't be worth much. But here, one piece of literature will pass 20 hands, and it will not be thrown away. So anything that we can do to go home and say to our friends at home, the value of contributing toward the purchase and the printing of information about the faith in Russian is really critical to our work. To watch these people who have a greater capacity at this point than we do to understand, because their mirrors are not frosted over. They do not have to overcome the trappings of the West. They don't have to overcome, I think it's referred to as the noise and the clamor that we have so built our life around, and they are not distracted as we are distracted. So when you share the message of the Baha'i Faith with Soviets, they stop dead in their tracks and they listen. They give you full attention and they listen. And the questions they ask you are not cutesy. And you don't hear, oh, I'm perfectly satisfied with what I already have. And so this is nice, but I'm not interested. Instead, even though the degree of interest might be unknown to you, they are so willing to listen to you and so willing to give you their undivided attention. They stay off work, they don't go to school, they will give up family celebrations, they will rework their whole day instantly if they think they have 15 minutes to spend with you.
Because for so many years here in this country we were taught not to believe in God, and the whole system promotes atheism rather than belief in God. So it was really interesting to acquire a new viewpoint, to recognize and to learn some new approaches to the problem of God's existence and man's station in accordance with God's will and God's covenant. And so that was really important for me to share my views, first with Linda and then with the people she brings over and over to the Soviet Union, because at first Baha'i writings were very attractive to me. They're really, in terms of social program, Baha'i writings are just impeccable, and I cannot comprehend some things about the Baha'i writings regarding God's station and man's relationship to God and some other things, but I feel really very much attracted to a social program the Baha'i Faith offers to the world.
Listen, can you hear the sound of singing? All the world around, walking through the jungle or on a busy city street. Everywhere around the world, singing always sounds so sweet. Black or white, red or tan, it's the sound of the family of man. Whoa, we're singing away
But we have to prepare ourselves coming into this setting and coming into this situation that we're not pre-deciding our part, that we are not so sure that we know what we're coming here to do, that we block the pure nectar that flows from honesty and spontaneousness and opening ourselves to an experience as it unfolds. Being a tour guide, many times I've led tourists, and I see such a sharp contrast in people who come to be taken care of, to be entertained, and they come for themselves. But I think our job as Baha'is is not to come for ourselves in the same perspective, but to come for ourselves in the sense that the clearer we see ourselves, the more we have to offer. And the more clouded our vision is of ourselves, the less we have to offer. Because we're so involved with struggling with self, our energy is just surrounding ourselves, and it cannot go beyond that.
Okay. How does your family feel and friends feel about you becoming a Baha'i?
You see, my mother became a Baha'i after me. That's what I tell her very many things about that. And now she's going to make a film about the Baha'i faith. So you see, my family, I think all of them became a Baha'i. I think so.
I heard about the Baha'i faith just a few words, but now just when I meet Baha'i people here in Kiev, I'm really happy because that really coincides with all my principles, ideals and notions of life, because I really think that kindness, with the capital letter, kindness is really the thing that will save the world. Kindness and beauty, kindness. And just in my life, I used to do favors, used to be kind to all people, used to be tolerant and patient and considerate. But now, when I heard about the Baha'i faith, my actions will be more concrete, maybe. And I feel this need of propagation of this faith. And even just now, I met some teenagers and they were asking, what are you doing here? And I told them about that in few words. I told them the gist of that Baha'i faith, and they were listening to me very attentively. And I said that they should propagate also. If they come across this faith, they should take into account all the gist of this faith. Really. And I think that kindness is the only thing that will save the world, and that we have no way out. We have no alternative. If we were not one family, then we'll destroy ourselves. What appeals to me about the Baha'i faith, that is the readiness to help people, to help each other. It's great. It's the main thing that we should remember during the whole of our life, and we should do it by concrete actions. We should not speak about that I am Baha'i and the only words. It's really difficult to speak when I speak about feelings that somehow touches my soul. It's really difficult to express it in Russian, but you see, but really words fail to express it. But and not only words, only actions just help each other and somehow try to communicate with the Baha'i people all over the world, and just somehow to make close that goal to make the world one family. Maybe this way.
How does your family feel about you becoming a Baha'i?
Oh, they are happy. And just we have become Baha'i just last night. Really, our Baha'i friends visited us last night. It was a lovely evening and we were happy. My husband said that he took the energy just for some years after that evening, and I do believe him, because he is very sincere in his words. really. And last night I was dancing, and in this very dance, I expressed all my feelings concerning the Baha'i faith. Yes, and when people try somehow to separate different nations, it's ridiculous. I consider it to be nonsense, really, because just I'm Armenian. I was born in Georgia. Now I live in the Ukrainian Republic, and now I have friends from Canada and from the USA, and I was dancing gypsy dance. It's the sample of really one family. The world should be one family. We have now the way out.
All right. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very eloquent.
Yes, really, it is essence. It's sincere. It's
We know
from
it.
depth
We
of my
feel
heart,
it.
really.
Yes.
In thinking about the difference in people's response in this country to the message of the Baha'i faith and people's response in the United States to the Baha'i faith, I think more of the difference I find in myself in how I present the Baha'i faith. Because at home, I tend to apologize for being a Baha'i, not in so many words, but I'm thinking of 100 different ways that I can mention the faith and not offend anybody. And over here, that's not part of it. There is no offending anyone by talking about the Baha'i faith. So you can cut through all of those layers of stuff that we've built around our teaching and go straight to it and be honest and open and sincere and to be unashamed and to just do it almost with ecstasy. I know that one time I was reading a book about this Catholic priest who was talking about his way of talking about Christ, and it was very unorthodox, and he said it was he compared it, he said, you know, when my old dog needs to lay down and scratch, he just does it, and he doesn't care who's watching. And I thought that that was a good analogy, because over here we can just be. We don't have to think about what does this look like to people, that we're out talking about religion. Instead, if it feels that it's appropriate, you just do it. Whereas in the United States, we will spend thousands of dollars to create an atmosphere. The right hall, the right setting, the right speakers, the right program, the right flowers, all of these things, hoping that we can get 50 people to show up. And we'll spend months doing this. You yourself experienced a gathering at a home last night, a very modest, simple little home, that in the period of an afternoon the word spread, and we had like, I don't know, 50 people there last night. Just because it was happening, it drew the energy of people, and they were standing up for hours and hours and hours just to hear anything we had to say. So it's really a different thing. So we have to learn to not pack those perspectives and bring them with us, but to come here knowing that the unseen hand of God is at work, shaping and molding the events and preparing the way for us. It's not our responsibility to prejudge who is receptive and who is not. It's our responsibility to trust the process that Baha'u'llah and Abdu'l-Baha told us would be. They said arise, and they would be the energy. And I'm here to tell you that you don't even have to arise, you just have to act like you're moving in that direction. And the Soviets create such an energy that you're just pulled along with it. So there's quite a great thing, but there is a great difference not only in speaking about religion, but in speaking about anything, because these people have time for you. They are not so distracted that they don't recognize when something's important and it's of value. And when they don't have to overcome materialism, and they don't have to overcome religion in order to hear the message of God. And many times in our country, we are so trapped in materialism, and we are so trapped in religion that we don't have time or capacity or desire to hear anything beyond that.
hechicera, eres linda y hechicera como el candor de la rosa.
Я просто никогда не думала, что я встречу людей с другой страны, именно таких гостеприимных, именно вот таких, что ну, просто я не могла, чтобы не посидеть с такими хорошими людьми. Поэтому я всей души, чем я богата, тем рада.
So she said that it was her pleasure to meet such beautiful people here. She would never even believe that foreigners can be like Soviet people, and she will share the last piece of bread when she will come to her place.
И хочу, чтобы все были в нем в гостях.
And she invites us to visit her place in Leningrad during our stay.
Is it over? Your test?
Yes, yesterday.
I thought about you all day. I was so glad to meet you. And you too, my dear. Hi. Nice to see you. Hi. Good to see you.
Make those connections first before I make any.
Let's go.
Okay, that's right.
5 years ago, a friend of mine, he is from Jamaica. He came to the Soviet Union. We studied together in the Theater Art Institute in Kiev. And he is from another country, and it's too interesting for me. How you live, what's your life is, and so on and so on. And I asked him, religions in your country? He says Christians, Buddha, and so on. And he says Baha'i. What is? He says me that this, and these things. I think I cannot understand what is this, because it was only in words, you see, and I cannot understand really what's the difference between Christians and Baha'i, between Buddha and Baha'i, between Mahomet and Baha'i. And now, thanks you're coming, not only you're, but the first group, thanks you're coming, I mean Baha'i, not only your group, thanks Baha'i. I understand many things. And you say that I'm a first Baha'i on Ukraine. You're wrong. I'm not the first Baha'i, because I know a lot of people on Ukraine who are Baha'i, but they don't know that Baha'u'llah exists. They try to do their best. They try to do everything which Baha'u'llah said us. Am I right? I beg your pardon once more about my English. They try to do everything, these things, but they don't know. That's why before I tell that all literature about Baha'i, which I received before, I have that now. Today is 26th of April. 4 years ago, maybe you know what had happened. Not so far from Kiev. I'm in Chernobyl. It's a terrible thing. It's too hard for me to speak about this, because during all this time, my daughter and many adult children in Kiev and another place, and I speak only about children. They live under Chernobyl. And I think that maybe only such things as Baha'i, the words of Baha'u'llah, can help us to understand what does it mean for us to live in peace, to be all together in every case, in good days and in the bad days. Because I remember when Chernobyl was, people from different countries help us. They don't know me, my wife, my daughter, my family, anybody in Kiev, but they try to help us. The situation in our country is, you know, the situation in our country is too I don't remember the word, too hard situation. That's why a lot of people try to find something which can help them to live. That's why I believe in this. Many of them will come to Baha'u'llah. Bye-bye.
There are so many opportunities for teaching. All you have to do in this country is walk out into the street. All you have to do is sit down on a metro, a park bench, walk into a classroom. You don't have to create a plan. You don't have to create a project, but you do have to be prepared. You have to be sensitive, and you have to be wise, and you have to use a lot of wisdom. Last week, when I had the bounty of being at the election of the Moscow local spiritual assembly after 60 years of inactivity, Mr. Furitan was there, Hand of the Cause Mr. Furitan, and he was talking about that we are participating in history that is so big and so powerful that it is our protection that we don't know what we're doing. And he also kept saying me in his loving and gentle way, as he would turn and say, please tell people to use wisdom. Please, please tell people to use wisdom. Tell them to learn to listen. And that's critical to this work, is learning to listen to the needs of the Soviets and not pre-decide from our Western perspective what they need and in what package to give it, but to come as the hollow reed and open ourselves to this experience.
I love to see you smiling at me like a brilliant star. I love to see you smiling at me. It tells me who you are. The wind may blow and the river may rise, but I won't give in to the sorrow. It's your smiling eyes, I can take tomorrow. I love to see you smiling at me like a brilliant star. I love to see you smiling at me. It tells me who you are.
Well, first of all, I'm not a Baha'i. I'm an atheist, an agnostic. Well, but I believe that the Baha'i faith is. Well, I share the principles of the Baha'i faith, and I believe that many things are very right from that faith. Mankind really must unite this time, and especially important is bringing the Baha'i faith into our country, into the Soviet Union, because these years are very important. We got so much information pouring on our heads about you, about the West, about our system, about your system, about our history. And it's not only the history we must know, you know, because if we know only the horrible, the terrible history of the Soviet Union, there will be just no way out. We must know some new ideas, some new things which can, well, some new ways for mankind. And in this respect, the Baha'i faith can be a real help to the Soviet Union.
First meeting with Baha'i people, that was when El Viento Canta came to Odessa. So first I talked to them and I got some literature, tried to read it, and I found out that it's very interesting, but it's too optimistic for me. You know, people here differ somewhat from people in the West, probably in the East, from any other place in the world, because we come, and we came through a unique experience. That is the experience of being deceived. But it's not that someone deceived us. That was self-deception, so to say. Because it was something in our culture that made us to be deceived. So we have to revise everything we lived, all the ideals, and it's very difficult, extremely. And it's not the time for optimism, you know. It's rather time, maybe for very strong personalities, it's time to be optimistic. But probably I'm not very strong, I'm pessimistic. And Baha'i faith sounds like another promise, and I'm not sure whether it will fulfill. So, but I'm going to look it through again, to read more. It sounds very nice, and the people I met are so nice that I want to trust them. I would love to trust them. I would love to make friends with them. And I hope I'll get rid of my pessimism. I hope so. So many people really believe that we should get back to our roots, the roots of the culture, of the national culture, and that was Orthodox Church, that is Christianity, Christian roots, and that was a mistake, a great mistake, to separate church from the state and to impose atheism on the masses of people without giving anything instead of it. Well, in theory, we should have given, but in practice, it turned out that we didn't give anything. And people, you know, if you read Dostoevsky, that's what he feared most of all. If everything is allowed, what might come out of it? A man is a beast in his nature, and something terrible would happen if everything will be allowed for him. And as we see from our history, it did happen. So many people, as a reaction, try to get back, to set things to rights, as Hamlet would say, yeah? But first, I think it is impossible. Nothing can be restored after such a break, after such a collapse. But Baha'i faith, it's something new. And I think probably in a paradoxical way, because I'm not a believer, but still I think that people might appreciate this faith because it is new and still it is very humanistic. It preserves everything that was in all the religions. It preserves. It doesn't make people argue or confront each other. It has the power to consolidate, to make people, to soothe them and their emotions. And our culture has always been a very emotional culture, and sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's bad. Because emotional people, like emotion nations, are very weak. They cannot suffer great burden. And our history has always given us this great burden. And sometimes we cannot go through it. Probably we'll try with Baha'i faith, and we'll try to combine the national roots, the national culture, and maybe we'll succeed.
Это было давно, лет 17 назад. Вез я девушку трактом почтовым, круглолица бела, словно тополь стройна, и покрыта платочком шелковым. Попросила она, чтобы песню я спел. Я запел, и она подхватила, а кругом тишина, только я да она, и луна так лукаво светила.
One night with El Vinto Canta here in Odessa, we had given a concert, and after the concert, people stay, and many times they just fill up the first 2 or 3 rows, and they sit and they watch, because everybody can't have a conversation with us, so they're content to watch the conversation, to still be in the realm of the spirit. But one night with El Vinto Canta, the concert was over, and the concert hall manager was nicely but very firmly pushing us out the door. And so we just casually said, anybody that wants to, still talk about this, come over to our dormitory. Well, there's 16 members traveling with El Vinto Canta, and 43 students took us up on this invitation. So there was all of us cram-packed into one little dormitory area. And there was a fireside going on in German. There was one going on in Spanish. There was one going on in English. David Haddon was giving a slide presentation on the Holy Land. And we were trying to figure out how to be hospitable. And all we had to serve on was a glass window pane that was lying there. So we washed the window pane, and we cut the cakes up, and we put them on the window pane, and we were walking around. We had 7 glasses. Now, we had almost 60 people there, right at that number, 59 people there. So we had 7 glasses and 2 teaspoons. And we would fill those glasses with tea as fast as we could make it, and we would pass it around. And so all these people, with 2 teaspoons, 7 glasses, and a window pane, we held a fireside that will never be forgotten as long as any of us live.
Наши адреса, я думаю, что наша дружба должна продолжиться, и что, может быть, в этой стране, в нашем городе, все-таки вы найдете последователей своей веры, и много людей, которые согласны будут идти вслед за вами. Спасибо.
Well, I'll try to do the rendering for my husband and Vita, also from this country. So we have spoken to many Americans and some Canadians, many people from the United States and Canada. Well, all of them were tourists. They just came here to see this country, to meet the people, to spend a couple of months or weeks here, and then leave, maybe forever. As for you, the matter was quite different. The matter was that you brought us something that we have never seen before. It is not just the religion, it is a new vision of the world, a new attitude to the world. It is something I have never seen before, I have never experienced before, but I think that something like that is in ourselves too. Probably that is why we met you as the people of the same family. I mean, consciously of the same family. And Vitali said, and I share his opinion upon that, well, we are sure that you will leave the country. You will take some snaps, you will take this tape, you will take some souvenirs of the country, but the best thing you will keep with you will be the particles of our hearts. For I'm quite sure that you managed to put into our hearts the fire of your faith, the fire of the Baha'i faith. I think that was maybe that was the aim of your trip here, and I think you did it.
I love to see you smiling at me like a brilliant star. I love to see you smiling at me. It tells me who you are. The wind may blow and the river may rise, but I won't give in to the sorrow. As long as I see your smiling eyes, I can take tomorrow. I love to see you smiling at me like a brilliant star. I love to see you smiling at me. It tells me who